So there's no holiness living or holiness preaching. It seems a lot of the church, when they get involved in moral issues, it's just social causes. Oh, abortion or homosexuality, gay marriage, just these social causes. And that's the only moral voice of the church. No call for just daily living of holiness, of righteousness, of purity, of saying no to sin and yes to God. They call that legalism, Phariseeism. Hey, what did Jesus rebuke the Pharisees for? Living holy? Jesus ever rebuke a Pharisee for living holy? Hey, Pharisee, you're obeying God too much. You need to stop that. Is that what Jesus rebuked the Pharisees for? No, he said, you're sinful on the inside. You look righteous outwardly, but inwardly you're full of iniquity. You need to purge the inside of the cup, and the outside will be cleansed. Jesus preached radical holiness on the inside, holiness of heart. Where the Pharisees were obeying the letter of the law. Thou shalt not commit adultery. External acts. So they had this external appearance of righteousness. But Jesus said, your heart is full of iniquity. If you even look at a woman with lust, you commit adultery with her in your heart. So Jesus was teaching the spirit of the law. He was rebuking the Pharisees for sinning in their hearts. So it's not Phariseeism to obey God. It's Phariseeism to disobey God in your heart. And that's what you have in a lot of the modern churches, especially in America. These people that, they live outwardly righteous lives. They go to Bible study. They go to work. They're faithful to their wives. But in their hearts, they're sinning, as their catechism says. They're sinning every day in word, thought, and deed. Like Ravenhill said, the devil can't do worse than that. I mean, that covers everything, doesn't it? And you're sinning every day in word, thought, and deed. The Pharisees didn't do any worse than that. No, Christianity is a life of holiness. You don't sin every day in word, thought, and deed. You obey God every day in word, thought, and deed. If sin occurs at all, it should be the rare exception, and you should immediately repent. It shouldn't be the habit of your life. It shouldn't be the daily characteristic of your conduct. Holiness is the habit of a true Christian. But they preach a positional righteousness without any practical righteousness. They say that we are righteous in our position even while we are unrighteous in our practice. Well, what does 1 John say? Little children, be not deceived. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. There is no positional righteousness apart from practical righteousness. That's a counterfeit. That's the gospel of a man who hasn't been changed by the true living grace of God. People say, oh, you don't sin every day? As a testimony to the grace of God, no, I don't. When I was ruling and governing my own life, I sinned more than once a day. I sinned all day, every day, sun up, sun down. I sinned in my sleep. I didn't stop sinning when I was ruling my own life. But when the grace of God came into my life, when I met Jesus and I started walking with Jesus, He led me out of my sin. And Jesus will never lead you into sin. So if you're sinning, you're not following Jesus. As a testimony to the power of His grace, as a testimony to the saving power of His cross, as a testimony to the dynamic power of faith, I can testify that I've lived a life since being converted of habitual obedience, of overcoming sin and the devil and temptation. And it's by the grace of God. So there's no real deliverance